alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Auzu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalam ala khatimin nabiyyin nabiyana Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa ashabi ajma'in. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi zidni ilma. Rabbi zidni ilma. Rabbi zidni ilma. So inshallah, very quickly we'll recap what we learned in the last session and then continue our today's lesson. So last time we started with ayat number 1. Auzu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Iza sama'un fatarat. When the sky breaks apart. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala begins the surah with a graphic description of the natural phenomena that will signal the beginning of the day of judgment. Iza samaun fatarat, when the sky breaks apart. This is a once for all type of occurrence. The imagery here is that the whole system of the universe will be disturbed. The verb in fatarat means to torn apart and to be rent asunder. Infitar is from the word fatara or futur, to tear something along its length. In the Quran Majid, words are from the same root, fa, to, and ra, fatara, have other meanings also. Some of them are opposite in meanings. It is mentioned in the Quran Majid at several places. The sky will be rent asunder at the advent of the day of judgment. Izan shaqqat as-sama'u in Surah Al-Rahman, ayat number 37. The word used is in shaqqat, which is a synonym for in fatarat. Iza means calling attention, when, in future, and also it means suddenly. Iza samaun fatarat, when the sky breaks apart. They are warned that on that day, the roof of this whole world will be shattered and cavities will appear all over it. What to speak of man-made structures? This roof, which appears strong, flawless, and resilient, to them will be ruptured that day. In ayat number 2, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Wa izal kawakibun tasarat. And when the stars fall scattering. Intisar or intisarun means to be dispersed. That is when the stars or planets have fallen and scattered apart, dispersing. Today the stars appear to be woven in invisible string and appear to be suspended like lamps from the roof of the heavens. However, on that day, this string will be heaved away, and stars will fall and become scattered all over. That is in Tasarat, fall off due to a sudden jerk. Sometimes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes things from our point of view, and other times his subhanahu wa ta'ala's point of view. In this ayah, he subhanahu wa ta'ala is covering both from our point of view and his point of view. That is, the stars look like small dots scattered all over the place. there is another word for star, that is Najmun. Star is mentioned in Surah Al-Takwir, ayat number 2. Yeah, وَإِذَا النُّجُومُ كَدَرَتْ. When the stars fall, losing their luster. Najmun is a shiny, twinkling star with brightness going on and off. Both the surahs are similar and complementary to each other. So, why is Kawakib used in this surah instead of Najmun? Kawakib is from the word Kaukabun, that is singular. Yeah, one is Kaukab and the Jama is Kawakibun. Is a large, brilliant fixed star or planet which is used for finding one's direction in the night time. Yeah. When Kawakib is used in this surah, it means that even the biggest, most fixed and firmly placed stars will also fall off from their place on the day of judgment. So inshallah, we'll start from ayat number 3 today. وَإِذَا الْبِحَارُ فُجِّرَتْ. And when the seas are erupted. Let's first look at the word for word translation and then we'll go to the ayah. Wa is and, al-waw atifa, conjunction particle. So this ayah number 3 is joining with ayat number 1 and 2. It's like a one subject. The subject is continuous. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about all the major signs on the day of judgment. Yeah. On the advent of the day of judgment, these major signs will happen. Yeah. First, Allah is talking about the sky and the stars. This is, these two are in the sky. Yeah? These, two major signs. Allah is showing what happens to the sky or in the sky. Now Allah is showing two more signs, major signs in the earth, yeah, or on the earth. Yeah. So what will happen? The first one is وَإِذَا الْبِحَارُ فُجِّرَتْ. And Iza is when, al-biharu, the seas, fujirat is gush forth. Wa is conjunction particle, al-waw atifa. Iza is when, time adverb, zarfu zama. Yeah. Al-biharu, the seas. This is all the seas. Yeah. Noun is marfu and fujirat is gush forth. Passive perfect verb, fail madin mabni lil majhul. Izal Biharu Fujirat. And when the seas are erupted. Al Biharu, seas, in the plural of Bahar. Yeah, Bahar means one sea or one river. Yeah, Bihar is the plural. After a mention of the sky and its stars, the state of the two things which belongs to the earth, the seas and the graves, are now stated in the next two ayat. Yeah, and they are very significant. The meaning conveyed by the word Fujirat is same as the one conveyed by Sujirat, which occurs in Surah Al-Takwir. So this is the reason, the ulama and the mufassirin, what they say is, in order to understand comprehensively any ayah of the Quran Majid, then you have to look for similar ayat or supporting ayat elsewhere in the Quran Majid. Then you put all of them together, then you will have a complete understanding, a comprehensive understanding of the message from the Quran Majid. What exactly Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about. Okay, you will understand the context and the content. In Surah Al-Takwir, it has been said, وَإِذَا الْبِحَارُ سُجِّرَتْ, when the oceans are set ablaze. And here, وَإِذَا الْبِحَارُ فُجِّرَتْ, when the oceans are torn apart. When the two ayat are read together, the splitting of the oceans and them being set ablaze, along with the fact a terrible earthquake will occur on the resurrection day, which will shake up the entire earth all at once. A picture emerges. Yeah, the event seems, like to be as follows. First, because of the terrible convulsions, the bottom of the oceans will split asunder and their water will start sinking into the interior of the earth, where an intensely hot lava is constantly boiling up. Coming into contact with the lava, water will split into its two constituent parts. That is oxygen, which helps in combustion, and hydrogen, which is by itself is combustible. So because of these two reactions, there will be huge explosions. Some time ago, some Western scientist, they were going through all these things and they produced a small serial. I think maybe it is still available, on YouTube or something. You can go and have a look. They're talking about the super volcanoes, and they're talking about tsunamis. Tsunami, which you cannot compare with the present day tsunamis. What tsunamis we are having now, this is only a territorial or in a region, small region. But this tsunami, which is going to happen on the day of judgment, is like 1,000 tsunamis or more. Yeah. So you will have big tsunamis on the earth. And also you are going to have, super earthquake, huge earthquake, because this is the reason, the earth will become super flat. After this, the earth will become super flat. So therefore we need, huge earthquake to make these things happen, to make the earth super flat. Because on this super flat surface, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will descend with his throne. Okay. So these are the major signs. The minor signs are many. There are hundreds and thousands of minor signs, as per the Quran Majid and also as per the Sunnah and, the Riwayat. These small signs will appear, and they are appearing since the time Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was there. These signs are constantly appearing, but that doesn't mean that this is the sign of Akhirah. These are the minor signs, but only when you see the major signs, that means this is the beginning. The biggest thing is the sky, splitting of the sky. The sky will be ripped apart. The sun will disappear. It will switch off. It's like switch off. The moon will disappear. The stars will disappear. All these things, they'll fall. And this is the biggest and major sign. This is the, advent of the day of judgment. Then other things will happen. When these things will happen, probably before that, we will all go away. And these things will happen. Okay. Thus, in the process of dissolution and combustion, a chain reaction will start, which will set all the oceans of the world ablaze. They're all, like burning. And when it is burning because of the heat, all, the major, mountains, hills, everything is gone. Everything is gone. Yeah. Because in other parts of the Quran Majid, Allah is talking about the mountains moving, and also they are blowing up, like the carded wool, colorful carded wool. So this is what happens. This is the time the graves will throw everything inside whatever they have inside. Yeah. So this is like, there are many sceneries Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is depicting in a pictorial form, but only if you go through all of them, yeah, all the signs of the Akhirah from the Quran Majid, then if you combine, then you see the whole picture. Now this picture is not for your entertainment. This picture Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is establishing for a man to understand what will happen to the man on the day of judgment? That is more important. And because of that, because of the fear of the day of judgment, we have to change our amal. We have to change our deeds. This is the reason Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving more and more and more, clear pictures what happened on the day. So people, if they believe, if they have strong iman, then they will change their amal. The only difference between these words is that from the word fujirat is evident the unrestrained nature of the seas, and from sujirat is evident their deafening nature. So these two will have a combined effect. You'll have huge tsunamis, then you'll have fire. Just imagine what will happen. Everywhere there is fire, everywhere there is tsunamis, everywhere there is earthquakes. And then when all these things will happen, they finish, then the earth will become super flat. As per the first word, the seas at the advent of the day of judgment will cross their current limits and spread over the crest and fall off the land. This is what happens. Yeah, Fujirat, explode, burst forth, poured forth, this is what happens. Everything will come out. In another place, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, everything, from the belly of the earth. It's like a pregnant woman. And when the pregnant woman delivers the baby, how she feels, sigh of relief. This is what the earth will feel. So everything inside the belly of the earth, all the evidences against the man, the gold, the silver, everything for which man killed another man. So they all will come out as evidence on the day of judgment. Sujirat in Surah Al-Takwir, ayat number 6, boil over with heat and set alight. This falls into the theme of heat and darkness. So just imagine, the sun is not there, the moon is not there, the stars are not there, it's pitch dark. And now there's heat also. There's heat and darkness. That's what happens on the day of judgment. People, they'll be grouped into, two groups. One group, less for our, imagination and discussion, which is on the right hand side, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's throne is there, and they're okay. But the group, huge group on the left hand side, those who are bound to go to Jahannam, they will be in such heat. According to one hadith, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, some people, they are in the sweat, standing in their own sweat, and the sweat is so much. Some people, the sweat is up to the knees, some up to their waist, and some up to their neck. You see, so this will happen, to that group. This is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is warning again and again and again. These things will happen. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has warned us again and again. There are many ahadith relating to, the hundreds of ahadith relating to the day of judgment, so that people can have at least, if not the full love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, at least they should have the bottommost of taqwa as the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, his anger on the day of judgment, and then they should change their attitude, they change their behavior and amal, the deeds. Fujirat is from the word fajr. This is to rip, is the movement theme. Yeah, Fajr is someone who violates the commandments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the worst and most obscene way. He's the Fajr. The word we use, morning prayer, Fajr prayer. Now what happens? The sky was very dark, and then slowly from those clouds, the sunshine is penetrating through. It is ripping through those, the dark clouds, and now you see the sunlight. Yeah, this is called Fajr. This is the time we do Fajr prayer. Al Biharu Fujirat. The seas in the most violent way explodes. The oceans rips out of its place, not staying within its boundaries. So they're everywhere. It goes further than its boundaries in a violent way. Just like the evil, oppressive, violent sinner transgresses the boundaries of sacredness set for it. You see how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is comparing here? When somebody becomes very violent, for example, the kings, presidents, rulers, when they become violent, what do? They start killing people. They do every sort of evil on the land. So now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, okay, that was your time. Now you see my term, what I'm going to do it. And when these violent things are happening, if a man looks at these things, do you think he is very peaceful? He is so panicked, and he knows that's it. This is the end of the time and where I'm going to end up. Particularly the people who are evil, so they will know what will happen to them. It's very clear for them. Compare this to the ayah in Surah Al Isra, ayat number 90. And they say, we will not believe you until you break open. Yeah. Tafjura. Yeah. For us from the ground a spring. Yeah. Tafjura, rip up the earth to make waterways for irrigation. Now, this ayah, although I have put it here, but it has got a different context. In Arab culture, particularly the people in and around Makkah, yeah, or in the Arabian Peninsula, there are no rivers. What maximum they have is some wells, some source of water, some small springs or something, but they don't have any big river. Therefore, for them to have a river in the middle of these, deserts is such an amazing thing. This is like a biggest miracle for them. What happens in the sky, they're okay, they agree with that. But to see a river or a big sea inside the Arabian Peninsula is amazing. So therefore they used to put pressure on Rasulullah. If you are the Prophet of Allah, show us a river here so that we can cultivate, we can improve our lives. This is what one of their demands was, to see a water source, to see a big river in the middle of the desert. So fulfilling the theme of ripping, tearing open is Fujirat, meaning the oceans or seas are going to merge, gush open and explode, like tsunami style. So as I told you, it's like 1,000 tsunamis, not one tsunami, because it will be everywhere. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, another huge sign on the earth. The first sign was, all the rivers will explode. Yeah? And now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, O izal khuburu mubsirat. And when the contents of the graves are scattered. Okay, this is just rough translation. Inshallah, first we'll look at the word for word translation, and then we go into the ayah. Wa is and, al-waw atifa. So as I told you before, so ayat number 1, 2, 3, and 4. So they are like, one full subject matter Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is describing. It's like, one long sentence, but it has got 4 different phrases. Okay. And these are the 4 incidents that will happen, and they are major incidents, not small. They are major incidents on the advent of the day of resurrection. So these 4 will happen, 2 in the sky and 2 on the earth. Now this is not just limited, these 4, not limited to these 4, but more things will happen. And that has been explained in the Quran Majid at different places. In different surahs, Allah has depicted these, events in different forms and in different style. Okay. Wa izal kuburu bu'sirat. Wa is and al wawatifa conjunction particle. Iza is when. Zarfu zama time adverb. Now please note here. Iza is also shart also, because the shart in Iza is inbuilt. Only when this happens. Yeah. So this is like a shart inbuilt. So there will be a jawab shart. If there is a shart. So there are 4 sharts here. Iza, 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 Iza. So 4 times Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about Iza. So this is a shart. So therefore there will be a jawab shart. So inshallah we'll see that in ayat number 5. Okay. So Iza is when Zarfu Zama time adverb al khubur, the graves. Al khubur is the graves. Bu'sirat are overturned. Yeah? Passive perfect word. Fail madin mabni lil majhul. Now why it is majhul? Because bu'sirat, it will be turned. And who is going to turn? Allah has not said that. It will happen. Somebody will do it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the hukum of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We know who will do it. But Allah has kept it this as a majhul form. I have told you this before. When majhul form comes, it means the task is so easy, particularly for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The task is so easy. Allah will say, order something, and somebody will do it. You know, the angels, the billions of angels who are working for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they will do it. So Allah does not need to mention who is going to do it. This shows the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that these kind of tasks, imagine this kind of task, Allah is saying this is easy for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to do it. When Allah is managing the whole kainat, just doing on the earth is not a big deal. Why? Because Allah created it. So Allah can destroy it. It's entirely up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it is in his divine wisdom. Okay, let's go to the ayah itself. وَإِذَا الْقُبُورُ بُعْثِرَتْ, and when the contents of the graves are scattered. Now, there are 3 words used for graves in the Quran Majid. Number 1, khabar, dug with the intent of burying someone. You know, notice the theme of ripping the ground. In this surah, in the context, Allah has used the word khubur, you know, the plural of the khabar. Yeah, khabar is one grave, khubur is many graves or all the graves. Yeah, in the context. There's another word has been used as markhad. Now, markhad generally it means a place of sleep. You know, from the word, you know, rukhud, uncomfortable type of sleep. You know, somebody is sleeping, like for example, in Surah Yasin, ayat number 52, when you are not in deep sleep and feel annoyed, the things people will see on the day of judgment will be so bad that the punishment they experience in the graves will just seem like a bad sleep. You know, for everyone, you know, if I die, my day of judgment is as soon as I close my eyes. You know, when you die, your judgment day is the time when you die. Because as soon as you die, things will happen you don't even remember. You know, there are sometimes you'll have good things happening to you and sometimes bad things happening, you know, for other people. And when they open their eyes, it is the day of judgment. Some people, they will discuss, how long did we sleep for? They say maybe one day or maybe part of the day. Yeah. And people, you know, who sleep with, you know, in the markhad, that means they have disturbed sleep. You know, they'll be very angry, you know, when they are resurrected and they say, who disturbed us from our sleep? They're not happy. On the other hand, the group of people who are bound to go to Jannah, they are very happy because they know this is the day of judgment and Allah will be pleased with them. And then they will have the reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and they are happy. So people who are born to go to Jahannam, they are not happy. And when they come out and when they see what is happening to the, the sun, the moon, the mountains, everything, they get panicked and they get angry. And what is happening here? Then finally they realize this is the day of judgment, and then they'll have a lot of regret, and that regret is not going to help them. They finally end up in the fire of hell. This third word is ajdas. Yeah, that also means graves. No, this is a special word, ajdas. Yeah, this is in Surah Yasin, ayat number 51. Graves whose signs are also gone. For example, cremation, mass graves, they are not marked to be known as graves. Different communities in this world, they bury or dispose their dead people in different ways. For example, there is a Parsi community in India. They just feed the bodies to the vultures. So there are many communities. Some they throw the body into the river. Yeah. So where is the grave then? There's no grave. So Allah has used the word ajdas. Jadas, ajdas. That means wherever they are, even if the whole, human body is eaten by some animal, yeah, then there's no sign. But on the day of resurrection, even those animals will die. And from that, again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will resurrect that human being. Doesn't matter how that person has died, whether they have been cremated in an electric, cremation, or, wooden cremation, whatever type of, cremation or buried or whatever, type of final, destination they had or final treatment they had in the dunya, Allah will resurrect every single child of Adam alayhi salam. And now they are ready and they have to answer Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment. So these are the three words Allah has used in the Quran Majid. Yeah, Khabar, Markhat, and Ajdas. Basirat is from the word Basara, made of two words. Yeah, this is a very special word. This is a fusion of two words. They have been combined. The first word is Basa. Basa, to rise up. Yeah, you're sleeping, you get up. That is your Basa. The other one is Asara. Asara means to discover or find. Yeah. For example, in Urdu language also we use this word. Say when you go to Egypt to see, these pyramids. So we say Asara Khadima. That means the signs. Yeah, the signs or discoveries of the past. This is called Asara Khadima. Yeah, the Khadim means old. So these are the old ruins. These are the old signs which has been recovered to show to human beings. Yeah. Okay. So if the fusion of this word Basara, Basa and Asara is combined, and it is Basara. Yeah, or Busirat. Basara, to dig into something and then pull out what you wanted from a collection of other things. Meaning the graves themselves are going to be toppled. This is being done to cast out the dead to resurrect them. So I'll give one example. In our houses, when the children are very young, 4, 5 years old, 10 years old, now we give them a big box to keep their, toys. Yeah, all the little toys they have. So they will have a big box. Otherwise, they'll be messing around. So to avoid that, if you give them a box and say, this is your toy box, put everything into this after playing. Now, suddenly the child want to play with his cousin or a friend, and he will, tell that I have got this dinosaur or this, I have got a, tank engine or something. I'll show you. Then what happens? The child is running, coming and opening the box and throwing everything outside just to find out what he wants. Yeah, what toy he wants to show to his cousin or friend. He's throwing everything outside. This is, the example Allah, are showing that this is what will happen. Everything will be thrown outside, including the dead bodies. The word Bu'sirat, Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma explained it as search. Yeah. So, who will do it? Maybe angels will do it. Yeah. So the angels will do it. So they will search for those bodies. Then they will have the matching, souls. So they will put the soul back into the body. Because our souls, as soon as they die, they're partitioned. They go behind the partition. So from that partition, the matching, is coming in another surah also. The matching soul will come back into the body. Then the person will get up and he had to stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As-Suddi, rahimallah, he said, Tubasiru means that they will be moved and those who are in them will come out. That means if the body is buried from the grave. Ashdas is a different case. Yeah, but they all will come out. Every son of Adam will come out. Every child of Adam will come out. Their graves are heard about. People will be resurrected to face the reckoning, to receive their reward and punishment. Then upon witnessing the violent scenes narrated above, they will feel insecure. That's what I told you. So people who don't believe, who don't have Iman, so they will feel very insecure because they know what will happen to them. Even the believers will also have that fear unless and until Allah gives, the result in the right hand. Everybody is worried. Everybody is worried. The expression Basar Shay, to scatter and disperse something, to tear open something, to open something and take out whatever is in it. This is the example I quoted, from the dunya. The child, he want to see, his particular toy, so he is throwing away everything outside. Even the mom will be shouting that, why are you doing this? What do you want? And he won't answer because he's so busy. He want to take out that particular toy. That happens on the day of judgment. Only tearing open of graves is mentioned in this ayah because the mention of the fact that people would be exhumed from them is most effective to warn people. However, it is evident from other ayat of the Quran Majid that the earth will throw overboard all its burdens. Yeah, in another place, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, the earth will throw away everything. Everything. It's like, the pregnant woman who is fully pregnant is giving the birth to the baby. So the earth will throw everything in its belly. Why it is doing? Because Allah has ordered. The Lord of the earth, the owner of the earth has ordered this. This is in Surah Zalzala. The words are وَأَخْرَجَتِ الْأَرْضُ أَثْقَالَهَا, and the earth cast out all its burdens. Ayat number 2. In Surah Inshiqaq, the words are وَإِذَا الْأَرْضُ مُدَّتْ وَأَلْقَتْ مَا فِيهَا وَتَخَلَّتْ. And when the earth is stretched out and cast out all things within it. So as I told you, so when everything is thrown out, the burdens inside and outside. Yeah. For example, it's got huge mountains, range of mountains. So they will also be scattered. So all this, the culmination effect is a super flat land. That's it. On this land, every single son of Adam, every child of Adam will stand. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will descend and the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be established and everybody will be judged based on their deeds. Their only hope will be in the Lord, their creator, Man's heart is thus made to turn to the only true being to seek his support and security. Will this happen to everyone? No. It depends upon the amal, depends upon the deeds of the human beings. So this relationship will be built between Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the human beings. If Allah is happy with them, if Allah is pleased with them, Allah will reward them. If Allah is not happy with them, Allah will punish them. It is as simple as that. This is the bottom line. In Surah Infitar, people are just being pulled out of the graves. In Surah Al Takwir, the souls are paired with their bodies. Yeah, وَإِذَا النُّفُوسُ زُوِّجَتْ. And when the souls shall be joined with their body. This is what I was talking about. Yeah. So every human being, every child of Adam, he has got a nafs, he has got a ruh. Yeah. Anfus is the jama of nafs. So everyone, they have got the ruh, which has been taken out when they died. And now this is behind the partition. Yeah. So we don't know where exactly it is, but it is with now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is in custody. All the arwah, all the nufus, they are in the custody of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We say barzakh. Barzakh means a partition, like a screen. On the day of judgment, each nafs, each ruh will come back to the same body. Whichever body Allah had allocated before, so they will come back. Okay, this is a process only Allah knows how these things will happen. From the time the judgment day is announced, every single incident which happens, every single accident which happens, only Allah knows the reality. We don't know. We know only approximately these things will happen. How exactly they'll happen, who will do it, we don't know. We don't have the knowledge. Only Allah knows. And also, it's not important for you and me to understand who will do it, how they'll do it. It's not our concern. It's entirely up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Our concern will be to improve our amal, to change our deeds, make more good deeds, and try to be in the, they say that in the good, list of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, good register of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yeah. So to be in the, Allah will be pleased with you. That's the amal we have to develop. That is important for us. The rest, leave it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah will deal with that. So what is mentioned in Surah Al Takwir is one step ahead of what has been mentioned in the present surah. So only if you put these two together, then you see a clear picture. In Surah Al Takwir, ayat number 14, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Alimat nafsum ma ahdarat. Then every person will know what he has brought, of good deeds or evil deeds on the day of judgment, what he has brought with him. Surah Infitar, the next ayah, a soul will then know what it has put forth and kept back. We'll see what that means. Yeah, what it has put forth for the day of judgment and what he has, left behind. Yeah, what he has sent forth and left behind. Both are important. So we'll see, inshallah. So now, ayat number 5. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Alimat nafsum ma khaddamat wa akharat. A soul will then know what it has put forth and kept back. Now, if you see, I have told you this before, the language in the Quran Majid is like, algebra, positives, negatives, what is on the right hand side of the equal sign and left hand side, they should balance. There should be perfect balance. If you see the word alimat, alimat will know, perfect word. And if you see here in the bracket, I have put it F. Yeah. Now this is a feminine word. Yeah, the word is feminine. It doesn't mean a lady. It means a feminine noun. It's a feminine word. Why it is feminine? Because of the word nafs. Now, nafsun in Arabic language, this is feminine because of samai. From over a period of time, people have used this word in a feminine form. Yeah, like there are other words also. They are samai. In grammar number 2 and 3, we have learned these, male and female, masculine and feminine nouns. Yeah, and some of them by adding ta marbuta, and some they'll have alif maksura, and some they'll have alif mamduda, and some are samai. Yeah, some are samai, and some by nature. Yeah, so there are different types of forms for male and female, or masculine noun and feminine noun, and this comes into the category of samai. For example, the sky, the earth, yeah, the sun, they are all samai, feminine nouns. Okay, so what I will do whenever I come across these, the nouns which are samai, and whether they are male or female, I'll identify and I'll let you know. So I'll put it in the bracket, that is samai. And this you see here in alimat at the end, what we say, era. The era is the sign on the last letter. And what is the last letter sign? Is a sukun. This is called tau tanisi. That means it is telling us this is referring the alima, yeah, will know, the knowledge will know. This is referring to a feminine noun. And what is the feminine next to it? Nafsun. This is feminine. This is F. Because of this is also tautanisi. Okay. Ma is what? Relative pronoun, ismul mawsul, khaddamat. You see again at the end of khaddamat, the era, there is a ta with the sukun, tautanisi. Wa akharat. Once again, you see here, ta has got a sukun, tautanisi. You see here, tautanisi here in the, khaddamat and nafsun and alimat. Yeah, so they're all rotating around the word nafsun, because nafsun is feminine noun and all these are related. This has got tautanisi. This is showing that this is a feminine noun. Here, once again, you see there is a F in the bracket, F in the bracket, F in the bracket here. So it's all. Yeah, alimat, perfect word, fail madin, nafsuns, noun, ism marfu, ma is what? Relative pronoun, ismul mawsul. So whenever there is a ismul mawsul, there will be silatul mawsul also. There is a connection. What is the connection? Khaddamat wa akharat. Yeah. So once again, khaddamat, it has sent forth perfect word, fail madin, wa is and conjunction particle, wa watifa is joining khaddamat, wa and akharat is joining. Akharat left behind perfect word, fail madin. Okay. So this is what you have to understand. How Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Quran Majid is the classic example of the beautiful language. The brevity in the language, the clarity in the language is so amazing. No other literature can match this. This is the beauty of the Quran Majid. And it in itself is a miracle of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Quran Majid is the biggest miracle, ever living miracle of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So alimat nafsum ma khaddamat wa akharat. Your soul will then know what it has put forth and kept back. Now, this ayah could have various meanings. Yeah, our mufassirin and our ulama, they say there are different meanings. Number one, it will be told of things that we should have been made a priority, but we put them back, and the things we should have put back, but we made them priority. This is one of the understanding that our priority changed. We should have done some good deeds. So what we did, we put it back, and then we are busy making money, doing all the illegal things, everything, and then we realize, oh, we should have done this before. So then people will change the priority. Okay, this is one of the meaning, that things which we are supposed to do it, we put it behind, things which you are not supposed to do it, we did it. That's one meaning of khaddamat wa akharat. The second meaning could be, it could also mean that the deeds we engage in are sent forth by us and will be judged by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment. So these deeds could be righteous or evil deeds. So that means all the deeds we do, yeah, Allah will judge on all our deeds, even the tiniest one. Yeah. The tiniest thing, the size of an atom, Allah will judge. Yeah, Allah will judge about good deeds and bad deeds. This is, we are sending forward. Yes, sending forward before we reach the day of judgment. The third one, the kept back part is the case, would mean things that we left behind in this world, our deeds, social position, wealth, education, status, etc. Look, for example, if somebody has built a masjid, yeah, and as long as the masjid is existing, people are doing the prayers, you'll get benefit from that. Or you dug a well, there was no water in the area. So you put all your efforts, all your money, all your resources, your influence, everything. And now people are benefiting from that water. So as long as the water is there, people are using it, you continuously reap the benefits. On the contrary, say for example, somebody started a brewery and that person is making a lot of money from the brewery. Yeah, and he died. The person gone. But the brewery is still there. They're producing alcohol. People are drinking. All the evil things are being happen. And this person, what he's sending ahead is all his bad deeds, even after his death. This continuously going. All the bad deeds people are doing. He has gone, but the people after him for many years, so they're drinking the whole alcohol, they're drinking all bad things or other things. He has set up all the evil things, so he will get the punishment of other people also, including me. When you do the good thing, the reward other people will benefit, they will get, and you get equal amount of reward for that also. You see, this is recurring. Yeah, recurring. Number 4, it could also mean the deeds we put forth and its residual effect after we die. It could be good deeds such as Sadqa Jariya. This is what I was talking about. Yeah, building a masjid, building a school, educating people. You started a madrasa, giving the knowledge. If you give the knowledge, yeah, to people, if people benefit from the knowledge in dunya as well as in the deen, whatever benefit they get, you will get the same amount, although you have done only once. But this is recurring, and more people get benefit from the school, from that masjid. You continuously you get the benefit from other people into your account. And sometimes when people will be surprised on the day of judgment, Ya Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how come I have got so many good deeds? Then Allah will say, you did this, and this is the resultant effect. Similarly, if people, if it could be for as-sayyat, yeah, as well, the evil deeds, in which case the sins will keep being added to your account, yeah, when even after we have died, because our actions are continuing to have bad effects. This is what I said. If you do, so that's why we have got a limited amount of time. How long we are going to live, we don't know. Next year, 2 years, 10 years, 100 years, we don't know. But within the time, if you are very intelligent, if you're very clever, look for things which you can do it and get maximum out of that. That's what we do, isn't it? So if I've got so much, £1 million, I'll try to invest where I can get the maximum out of that, maximum benefit. and I'll find out, where I can invest so that I can get the maximum. Similarly, in Islamic terms also, you have to spend. You have to spend, yeah, and make sure that you spend very cleverly so that you can get benefit even after your death. But if you do something evil, which has got a residual effect even after you leave the world, then don't forget, these will be accumulated, and on the day of judgment you see loads of bad deeds into your account. This is just a warning for every one of us. Ma khaddama, good deeds or bad deeds, you're done and send them forward. You are not sending forward, although Allah has said you are sending, but the angels who are writing down our deeds, good deeds and bad deeds, they are writing it down, whether you like it or not like it. So as soon as the person, he ceases his life, he is dead, they will send the records, and the records will go into a place where nobody can have access except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the angels appointed for them. Nobody will have access. Only on the day of judgment. So those records will also be brought in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In Surah Al-Takwir, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in ayat number 14, Alimat nafsum ma ahdarat. Then every person will know what he has brought of good and evil. That is, we will regret some things we left behind and some we will be happy about leaving. This includes actions and even friends, as depicted in the conversation taken place between the dwellers of paradise in Surah Safat, ayat number 51 to 57. We'll see that inshallah. Now, one of the things is, if you educate your children, not just in the dunya, even if you give them the deenvi education, the education of the Quran and Sunnah, and make them good children, they will make dua for you. They will do the things for you. In your name, they may do some hasnat jariyah. Yeah, and that's also an investment. Bringing up good children, giving them good education, along with the other things in dunya, you need to give them good, clothing, shelter, all the things. But if you make them good citizens, good Muslims, then also you get benefit from the family also. So this is from Surah Safat, ayat number 51 to 57. A speaker among them, the people of paradise, will say, indeed, I had a companion on earth who used to say, are you among those who believe in resurrection after death, that when we die, become dust and bones, shall we indeed be raised up to receive reward or punishment according to the deeds? A voice will say, would you like to look down? So he looked down and saw him in the midst of the fire. He said, by Allah, you have nearly ruined me. Had it not been for the grace of Lord, I should certainly have been among those brought here. So many things will happen. Even after we going into paradise in Jannah, there are many conversations are happening. People are allowed to see what is happening in the Jahannam also. Yeah. So there are many things happening today. We cannot imagine. We cannot. The only belief we have is Iman. If you believe, it's your intact. Believe your Iman is intact. This is the strength of your Iman. The sins are mentioned in the previous surah, like the killing of the baby girl. We'll see that inshallah when we come to the next surah. And this surah explains that you have brought them forward as your evil on this day. Now it's coming back to haunt you. So nothing is kept in secret. Even if you commit something within the four walls, nobody has seen, nobody has recorded, but still Allah has got a recording. Allah knows what you have done in the open. Allah knows what you have done in the secret. So therefore, it is important that we need to be Allah conscious. We have to do things for the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I'll stop it here. Inshallah, I'll continue in the next class because our time is up. Wa akhiru da'wana anil hamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Subhanallahi wa bihamdihi. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika. Nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.